Marcus worked 2 jobs to feed his son Tommy. They had no money for candy. When a little girl got stuck in Sweet Dreams' candy shop, Marcus helped her escape. But when her mother arrived, Marcus's world changed forever. The crying child was his own daughter he never knew existed. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. Marcus wiped the sweat from his forehead as he finished his long shift at the construction site. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink. He was tired, very tired. His back hurt from carrying heavy materials all day. His hands were rough and dirty. But he couldn't rest yet. He had to pick up his 8-year-old son Tommy from after-school care. Marcus was a single father. Life had not been easy for him. His wife Lisa had left them 2 years ago. She said she couldn't handle being a mother anymore. She wanted freedom, she said. She wanted to travel and find herself. So she packed her bags one morning and never came back. She didn't even call Tommy on his birthday. Since then, it had been just Marcus and Tommy against the world. Marcus worked double shifts to pay for rent, food, and Tommy's school supplies. He worked as a construction worker during the day and cleaned offices at night. He was always tired, but he never complained. Tommy was his whole world. Dad, Dad. Tommy ran to him with a big smile. His backpack was too big for his small body, and his shoelaces were untied. Mrs. Johnson said I did really good on my math test today. Marcus smiled and hugged his son tight. That's great, buddy. I'm so proud of you. They walked hand in hand down the busy street. The city was full of sounds, cars honking, people talking, music playing from shops. But Marcus only heard Tommy's voice as his son told him about his day at school. Dad, can we stop by the candy store? Tommy asked as they walked past the colorful shop window. The store was called Sweet Dreams Candy Shop. It had big glass windows full of chocolates, gummy bears, lollipops, and cotton candy. The colors were so bright and beautiful. Marcus checked his wallet. $5 left until payday on Friday. That money was for milk and bread. He felt his heart break a little. He hated saying no to his son. Maybe next week, buddy, Marcus said softly. Tommy's face fell, but he nodded quietly. He was a good kid. He never complained when Marcus said no. But Marcus could see the disappointment in his son's eyes. It made him feel like a failure as a father. It's okay, Dad. I don't really need candy anyway, Tommy said, trying to make his father feel better. Marcus knelt down and hugged Tommy. You're the best son in the world, you know that? As they were about to walk away, they heard crying from inside the candy store. Through the big window, Marcus saw a small girl, maybe 6 years old. She had long brown hair and pigtails and was wearing a pink dress. Tears were streaming down her face. She looked scared and stuck somehow behind the counter. Without thinking twice, Marcus pushed open the door. A little bell rang as they entered. The store smelled like chocolate and vanilla. The elderly store owner, Mrs. Chin, was frantically trying to help the little girl. What happened? Marcus asked, walking quickly to them. Mrs. Chin looked worried and stressed. Little Lily here was reaching for some dropped candy behind the display case. Now she's wedged between the counter and the wall. I can't move her without hurting her. She's been crying for 10 minutes. The little girl looked up at Marcus with the most beautiful green eyes he'd ever seen. They were bright green like emeralds. Something about her face seemed familiar, but he couldn't place it. She had a small nose and rosy cheeks wet with tears. Hey there, sweetheart, Marcus said gently, kneeling down to her level. His voice was soft and kind. I'm Marcus and this is my son Tommy. We're going to help you, okay? Don't be scared. Lily nodded, still sniffling. Her bottom lip was trembling. I just wanted the gummy bear that fell down there. It was my favorite, the red one. Marcus studied the situation carefully. The space between the counter and wall was very narrow. Too narrow for an adult to fit through. The display case was heavy and couldn't be moved easily. But maybe his son could help. Tommy, you're smaller than me. Think you can squeeze in there and help Lily out? Marcus asked. Tommy's eyes lit up with excitement. He loved helping people just like his father. Yeah, Dad. I can do it. Be very careful, son. Go slow. Carefully, Tommy wiggled into the tight space. He was thin and could fit where adults couldn't. Hi, I'm Tommy, he said to Lily with a friendly smile. Don't be scared. My dad fixes everything. He's like a superhero. Really? Lily asked, her tears stopping for a moment. Really? He fixed my broken bike, my toy car, and even our leaky roof. Within a few minutes, Tommy had carefully guided Lily out of the cramped space. She was free. She immediately ran to Marcus and hugged his legs tight. Thank you, mister. You're like a superhero too, she said, looking up at him with those amazing green eyes. Marcus felt something strange stir in his chest. This little girl reminded him of someone, but he couldn't remember who. Her smile was so familiar. "Is your mommy or daddy here, sweetheart?" Marcus asked gently. Lily's happy face became sad again. "Mommy's at work. She always works late. She's a nurse and helps sick people. I was supposed to wait here until she comes to get me." Mrs. Chen looked worried and checked her watch. Her mother, Sarah, usually picks her up by 6 o'clock, but she called 20 minutes ago saying she'd be another hour. There was an emergency at the hospital. Sarah? Marcus's heart skipped a beat. The name hit him like lightning. Sarah Martinez? Yes, do you know her? Mrs. Chen asked, surprised. Marcus felt the world spin around him. His legs felt weak. Sarah Martinez. That name brought back so many memories. 6 years ago, after his best friend Jake's wedding, he had met a beautiful woman named Sarah Martinez. They had talked all night at the hotel bar. She was funny, smart, and kind. They had shared something special, something magical. They talked about their dreams, their fears, their hopes for the future. It was just one night, but it felt like more. They had connected so deeply. They talked until sunrise, watching the city wake up through the hotel window. But when Marcus woke up the next morning, she was gone. No note, no phone number, nothing. He never saw her again, even though he looked for her everywhere. He looked down at Lily again, really looking at her this time. Those green eyes, they were the same color as his own. The same eyes he saw in the mirror every morning. She had the same stubborn curl in her dark hair that Tommy had. The same small dimple in her left cheek that Marcus had. His heart started beating very fast. Could it be possible? "Lily, sweetheart, how old are you?" Marcus asked, trying to keep his voice calm. "I'm 6 years old. My birthday was last month. October 15th. Mommy made me a princess cake with pink frosting." Marcus did the math quickly in his head. 6 years ago. 9 months after that night with Sarah. His hands began to shake. His mouth felt dry. "What's your mommy's full name, honey?" "Sarah Elena Martinez. She works at St. Mary's Hospital. She saves people's lives every day. She's the best mommy in the world." The same Sarah. The same beautiful Sarah he had fallen for in just one night. Marcus felt his knees go weak. He had to hold onto the counter to steady himself. Could this beautiful little girl be his daughter? His own flesh and blood? "Dad, are you okay?" Tommy asked, looking concerned. "You look funny." Before Marcus could answer, the little bell on the door chimed again. A woman with tired eyes and blue scrubs rushed in. She had the same long brown hair as Lily, but it was pulled back in a messy ponytail. She looked exhausted but beautiful. "Lily. Baby, I'm so sorry I'm late," the woman called out. The emergency surgery took longer than expected, and then there was traffic and... She stopped talking when she saw Marcus. Her face went completely white. Her mouth opened but no words came out. She stared at him like she was seeing a ghost. "Marcus," she whispered. "Hello, Sarah." His voice was barely audible. The years melted away. She looked older now, more tired, but still beautiful. Her eyes were the same warm brown he remembered. She had a few more lines around her eyes, probably from working long hours and raising a child alone. Lily ran to her mother and hugged her legs. "Mommy, this is Marcus. He's my hero. I got stuck behind the counter trying to get a gummy bear, and he and his son Tommy helped me out. They're like superheroes." Sarah's eyes filled with tears as she looked between Marcus and Lily. Now that they were standing together, the resemblance was impossible to miss. Lily had Marcus's eyes, his dimple, his stubborn hair curl. Anyone could see they were related. Tommy looked confused. He could feel something important was happening, but he didn't understand what. "We need to talk," Sarah whispered to Marcus. Mrs. Chen, who had been watching everything with wise old eyes, stepped forward. "Why don't I watch the children while you two step outside? They can help me arrange the candy display." "Can we, Dad?" Tommy asked excitedly. "Can we, Mommy?" Lily echoed. Both parents nodded, too emotional to speak. Outside on the sidewalk, the evening air was cool. The street was busy with people going home from work. But Marcus and Sarah only saw each other. 6 years of questions, pain, and wondering hung in the air between them like a heavy cloud. "She's mine, isn't she?" Marcus asked quietly, his voice shaking. Sarah nodded slowly, tears flowing freely down her cheeks. "I'm so sorry, Marcus. I was scared. I was young and stupid. I didn't know how to find you after that night, and when I realized I was pregnant 3 months later..." Her voice broke. She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. "Why didn't you try harder to find me?" Marcus asked. He wasn't angry, just hurt and confused. I did try. God, Marcus, I tried so hard. Sarah's voice cracked with emotion. But I only knew your first name and that you worked construction somewhere in the city. Do you know how many construction workers named Marcus there are here? Hundreds. I called construction companies for weeks. I even went back to the hotel where we met, but they couldn't give me any information. She took a shaky breath. I was 22 years old, alone and terrified. My parents had died in a car crash the year before. I had no family, no support system. I was working 2 jobs just to pay for nursing school. When I found out I was pregnant, I didn't know what to do. Marcus ran his hands through his hair, a habit he had when he was stressed. I looked for you too, Sarah. I went back to that little cafe where we had breakfast the morning after Jake's wedding. I went there every single day for 6 months hoping you'd show up. I asked everyone if they knew a nurse named Sarah Martinez. Really? Sarah looked surprised. Really? That night we spent together, it meant something to me. You weren't just a one-night stand. I felt like I had found something special, someone special. When you were gone the next morning, I felt like I had lost something important. They stood in silence for a moment, both remembering that magical night. The way they had laughed together. The way they had shared their deepest dreams and fears. The connection they had felt. Through the candy store window, they watched as Tommy was showing Lily how to stack candy boxes into a tower. She was laughing at something he said. The children looked so natural together, like they had known each other forever. She's beautiful, Sarah. She's absolutely perfect, Marcus said, watching his daughter. She asks about her father sometimes, Sarah admitted. She sees other kids with their dads at school events and she wonders where hers is. I never knew what to tell her. I couldn't tell her the truth, that I didn't even know how to find him. Marcus felt tears in his own eyes. What has her life been like? Hard sometimes. I work long hours at the hospital. She stays with Mrs. Chen after school most days. We don't have much money, but we have each other. She's a good kid, Marcus. She's smart, funny, and kind. She gets good grades and loves to read. Just like Tommy, Marcus said with a sad smile. Tommy seems like a wonderful boy. Where's his mother? Marcus's face darkened. Lisa left us 2 years ago. She said she couldn't handle being a mother anymore. She wanted her freedom back. Tommy hasn't seen her since. I'm sorry. That must have been hard. It was. But Tommy and I were a team. We take care of each other. They watched their children through the window again. Lily was now showing Tommy how to make a candy necklace with the gummy bears. Both kids were giggling. What do we do now? Sarah asked, her voice small and scared. Marcus looked at this woman who had given him another child he never knew existed. Despite everything, despite the years of not knowing, he felt no anger toward her. Only sadness for all the time they had lost. We figure it out. Together, point one step at a time. If you want to, that is. I've been doing this alone for 6 years, Marcus. I'm so tired of being alone. You don't have to be alone anymore. None of us do. Sarah wiped her eyes again. What if Lily doesn't want you in her life? What if this confuses her? What if Tommy doesn't like having a sister? We'll take it slow. We'll let the kids get to know each other first. We'll answer their questions honestly. Kids are stronger than we think. When they went back inside the candy store, both children ran to them excitedly. Dad. Lily taught me how to make candy jewelry. Tommy announced, showing off a bracelet made of colorful gummy bears. Mommy? Tommy knows magic tricks. Show her the coin trick. Lily said, bouncing up and down. Marcus knelt down so he was at Lily's eye level. His heart was pounding. Lily, sweetheart, I need to tell you something very important. She looked at him with those beautiful green eyes, his eyes. You know how you sometimes wonder about your daddy? Lily nodded seriously. Well, I'm your daddy. I didn't know about you before today, but I'm your father. Lily's eyes grew very wide. She looked at Sarah, who nodded and smiled through her tears. Really? You're really my daddy? Lily asked in wonder. Really and truly. Lily studied his face carefully, like she was memorizing every detail. Then she looked at Tommy. Does this mean Tommy is my brother? Half-brother, Marcus corrected gently. You have the same daddy but different mommies. Lily thought about this for a moment. Then her face broke into the biggest smile Marcus had ever seen. Cool. I always wanted a brother. And a daddy. She threw her arms around Marcus's neck and hugged him tight. Tommy looked confused but happy. So Lily is my sister now? Yes, son. Lily is your half-sister. Awesome. I always wanted a sister too. The two children hugged each other like they had been siblings all their lives. Mrs. Chen watched the whole scene with tears in her eyes. In all my years running this store, I've never seen anything so beautiful, she said softly. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. His whole world had changed in one afternoon. He had gone from being a single father of one child to discovering he had another child he never knew existed. Sarah had given him her phone number, and they had agreed to meet again soon to figure out how to blend their families. The next few weeks were like a beautiful dream. Marcus and Sarah met for coffee while the kids were at school. They talked for hours, catching up on 6 years of life. They talked about their jobs, their struggles, their hopes for their children. Sarah told him about the early days of being a single mother. How scared she was when Lily was born. How she worked 3 jobs to pay for diapers and formula. How she cried herself to sleep many nights, wishing she wasn't alone. Marcus told her about his own struggles as a single father. How lost he felt when Lisa left. How he had to learn to braid Tommy's hair for school picture day. How he practiced making ponytails on YouTube videos. They laughed together and cried together. Slowly, carefully, they started to rebuild the connection they had lost 6 years ago. The children adapted quickly. Tommy loved having a little sister to protect and teach things to. Lily adored her big brother and followed him everywhere. On weekends, they all spent time together, going to parks, watching movies, playing board games. Marcus helped Sarah with things around her small apartment. He fixed her leaky faucet, painted her living room and installed new locks on her doors. Sarah helped Tommy with his homework when Marcus was working late. She cooked dinner for all of them on Sundays. 3 months after that day in the candy store, Marcus got a promotion at work. He was made a foreman, which meant better pay and regular hours. No more working 2 jobs. I want to help you with Lily, he told Sarah one evening as they watched their children play in the park. I've missed 6 years of her life. I want to be a real father to her. She would love that, Sarah said. She talks about you all the time. My daddy this, my daddy that. You're her hero. What about us, Sarah? Marcus asked carefully. Is there a chance for us? As more than just co-parents. Sarah was quiet for a long moment. I don't know, Marcus. We're not the same people we were 6 years ago. We've both been through so much. I know. I'm not asking you to marry me tomorrow. I'm just asking if you'd be willing to see where this goes. We have something special, we always did. Sarah looked at him with those warm brown eyes. I'd like that. I'd like to see where this goes. 6 months after that day in the candy store, Marcus stood in his newly expanded apartment. Sarah and Lily had moved in the month before. It wasn't easy, blending 2 families never is. There were arguments about bedtimes, chores, and whose turn it was to pick the movie. But there was also laughter, love, and the joy of being a complete family. Tommy and Lily shared the bunk bed Marcus had built himself. They fought like real siblings sometimes, but they also protected each other fiercely. When a boy at school made fun of Lily's hand-me-down shoes, Tommy stood up for her. When Tommy was sick with the flu, Lily made him get well cards every day. Sarah and Marcus were taking their relationship slowly. They were dating, but they slept in separate bedrooms. They wanted to make sure they were building something real and lasting, not just getting together for the kids' sake. Dad, Tommy said one evening as Marcus tucked him into bed. Are you going to marry Sarah? Marcus smiled. Would you like that? Yeah. She makes really good pancakes. And she doesn't burn the bacon like you do. Hey. Marcus laughed. My bacon isn't that bad. It is, Dad. It really is. From the bottom bunk, Lily giggled. Tommy's right, Daddy. Your bacon is terrible. I'm being ganged up on by my own children, Marcus said dramatically. We love you anyway, Lily said, reaching up to hug him. Even if you can't cook. A year after that day in the candy store, Marcus proposed to Sarah. Not with a fancy ring or an expensive dinner, but on a quiet Sunday morning in their kitchen while she was making those famous pancakes and the kids were still sleeping. Sarah Elena Martinez, he said, getting down on one knee right there on the kitchen floor. Will you marry me? Will you let me spend the rest of my life trying to make up for the 6 years we lost? Sarah started crying happy tears. Yes, Marcus. Yes, yes, yes. They were married 6 months later in Mrs. Chen's candy store, surrounded by friends, family, and enough candy to feed an army. Tommy was the best man and Lily was the flower girl. Mrs. Chen gave them their first year's worth of candy as a wedding present. You two were meant to find each other again, she told them. Sometimes love needs to take a long journey before it finds its way home. 2 years after that magical day in the candy store, the Thompson family, Marcus, Sarah, Tommy, and Lily lived in a small house with a big backyard. Marcus had started his own construction company. Sarah had been promoted to head nurse at the hospital. Tommy was 10 and played soccer. Lily was 8 and loved to paint. Every Sunday they went to Sweet Dreams candy shop to visit Mrs. Chen and buy treats for the week. The gummy bear that had started it all sat in a place of honor on the counter, a reminder that sometimes the smallest things lead to the biggest miracles. And in their house, there were 4 stockings hanging by the fireplace, for chairs around the dinner table, for bikes in the garage, and 4 hearts that had found their way home to each other. The sweetest rescue of all had been rescuing each other from loneliness and creating the family they were always meant to be. One evening, as Marcus was reading bedtime stories to both children, Lily looked up at him with those beautiful green eyes. "Daddy, what if you hadn't stopped to help me that day in the candy store?" Marcus thought about it. "Well, Princess, I think we would have found each other eventually. Some things are just meant to be." "Like family?" Tommy asked. "Exactly like family," Marcus said, hugging both his children close. And as Sarah watched from the doorway, her heart full of love and gratitude, she knew that sometimes the best things in life come from the most unexpected places. Sometimes you lose something precious, and sometimes, if you're very lucky, you find it again when you need it most.